There are many reasons Jamaica is known as the jewel of the Caribbean, but Jamaica has a jewel of its own, the Gates of Edgehill, a resort-style community with the comforts of home and the privileges of a private club, perfectly located in the hills of St. Mary, cooled by the blue ocean breezes and warmed by the bond of like-minded neighbors. Close to everything, but far from ordinary. This is the home you've always wanted, in the land you always loved. Come home to paradise, Jamaica.
Welcome to the Gates of Edgehill webinar. We wanted to thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Matthew Solda. I'm a director with the Gates of Edgehill and will be moderating the presentation. In this webinar, we will discuss what you need to know about purchasing a home at the Gates of Edgehill, which is located just outside Ocho Rios in Jamaica. We will touch on the team, the background and history of the development, the location, the site plan and amenities, the homes, and their features and finishes. Once you understand the project and what it has to offer as your next getaway or retirement destination, we'll provide an overview of what you need to know to purchase a home and what financing options are available. At the end, we will allow for about 15 minutes of questions and answer period, and the questions can be submitted via the Q&A option. The webinar will be recorded so that you can re-watch at your leisure. Speaking today, we'll have David Morrison on screen right now, president of Edgehill Homes Limited, the developer behind the Gates of Edgehill. Marcia Jackson, property consultant and owner of Candour Property Services out of the United Kingdom. Candour has been with the Gates of Edgehill from the start of the project and has helped many of our current residents to find and purchase their dream home here. Marcia will be able to touch on the purchasing process and what you need to know about it. Corey Hyde, business development lead of VM Group, a mortgage financial services provider. VM Group has funded many of the purchasers in the development and holds a substantial position in the funding of residential mortgages in Jamaica and within the diaspora. And finally, Juris Partners, which is our attorney on every sale transaction. They're not joining us today, but they play a truly integral role in completing every purchase within the development. First, we will hear from Dave Morrison. He will tell us about the current status of the development and speak more on phase one of the project and what you need to know as it is currently being finished off. David, welcome.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for everybody for attending. First of all, a little bit of background. The Gates of Edgehill, Edgehill Homes Limited, is an initiative of Morrison Financial Services Limited, which is my company in Canada. We've been in business for 38 years, and we're a long-standing financial services company. We've been involved in Jamaica since 1996. In 1996, our company financed the first joint venture between the National Housing Trust in Jamaica and a private developer. It was a development called Angels Estates. It was about 450 houses in the parish of St. Catherine, just outside of Spanish Town. Many of you will probably be familiar with that development. The Gates of Edgehill is our second initiative. It's a different kind of project. It's a higher end project, and it targets the diaspora, people who dream to return to Canada, to Jamaica, to live there in retirement or possibly seasonally. And so the project consists of 294 homes. 108 homes comprise phase one. In phase one, we've sold 71 of them already, and they're going into possession as we speak at this time. 60 of them are completed. 41 people are already living in their homes. 60 houses are completed, and we're in the process of closing. And as I said, approximately 75% has been sold and is in process of being delivered. We expect that they will be all fully delivered before around February of 2025. And of the 108, about 20 of them are not for sale at this point. They will go on sale very shortly, but we're holding them off for reasons related to a wall that has to be completed. And really, they'll almost be part of phase two, which is another 93 houses, and then there's phase three, which comes after that. Project includes a clubhouse, pool, playground. I'm going to let other people talk about that. I do want to speak a minute just because, Gates of Edgehill has been around a long time. People may have heard about it as much as 8 years ago. And the question would be like, why aren't we finished at this time? And I want to tell you that we had some problems early on. I'm not going to try to downplay that. We had a problem with early contractors who let us down, and we had to put the project on hold for a little while we fixed that. Today, it is all fixed, and we're going ahead very, very rapidly now. But trust me, it was not easy at the beginning learning to do business in Jamaica, and we have overcome it though. And so, but I wanted you to know that we are behind this development, and we are a substantial company, and you have our commitment in that regard. So I'm going to let it go at that, and Matthew, pass it back to you, and I'll be available if there's any questions specifically.
Sure. I think there was one more initiative that Marcia thought would be good to talk about, and that was just the Boscobel Infant School and how the Gates of Edgehill was involved in
Yeah,
the beginning.
I think it is important. You know, whenever I do something anywhere in Canada, in Jamaica, I always try to, contribute to the community. And what we did in the case of the Gates of Edgehill is we adopted a sister school. So first we built it, and the school is about 3 kilometers from the site of the project. It's in Boscobel. It's a kindergarten school. It houses about 100 children. We paid the full cost of building that school. And if you buy into the Gates of Edgehill, a small portion of your monthly payments goes to the school every year. It's managed by a trust, Food for the Poor, a trust in Jamaica, a well-known charity. And that money will go indefinitely every year to the school to make sure the children have the best, whether it's computers, supplies, whatever it is, or scholarships necessary, or to help the families so their kids can go to school, whatever the trustees deem is appropriate and the school management appropriate. So you can learn more about the Boscobel School project on our website and the blog. There's a little video that was made at the time that we did it. And we hope that people will appreciate that and feel that connection with the community that comes out of that. So I hope I covered that.
Yeah, thanks, David. That's great. So we just have a picture here of what it actually looks like on site today. It was raining when we took this picture, but you get a sense of what a few of the houses look like. So next we'll touch on the location, the site plan, and some of the amenities of the project. So the development's located just over 1 kilometer up from the main on Mango Valley Road, and it's just about 15 minutes from Ocho Rios. So the location's being set back from the water reduces the exposure to the elements and the risks associated with potential storm surges that may exist along the coast. From recreation to shopping, restaurants, and more, as you can see on the map that we have laid out here and on our website, there's plenty of options for your day-to-day living needs and for leisure activities as well. Our website provides a whole breakdown, and we can recommend that you check it out to read more, or you can talk to someone like Marcia, property consultant, who can give you any answers that you're looking for. So as we drive up the main along Mango Valley Road, we reach the property. We thought that it would be a good way to learn about the property by hearing from our Director of Site Operations, Raymond Johnson. Although Raymond cannot be here today, we're fortunate to have hosted a local high school at the Gates of Edgehill earlier this year, where Raymond was able to give an excellent overview of phase 1 of the project. I'll just let Raymond take it from here in this short little video.
In a nutshell, it is a 294 lot housing development. And when I say lot now, it doesn't include the green spaces, common areas, residential lots. So I'm just counting on the 294 lots. Phase 1 comprises approximately 105 residential lots, and this is phase 1. We're not yet onto phase 2 and 3. What we're doing is to try to bring to a close phase 1, and that would include completing the roads, the light, the water, the infrastructure, so that the houses can be serviced. So now our attention is really to finish up the houses.
So Raymond's an expert in the field of construction and is leading the site team to the completion of this phase and into phase 2 that we should be starting shortly. I'm sure that everyone's interested to hear about the amenities available for those that purchase within the community. The clubhouse with the exterior rendering pictured here. It now has a completed interior, so the interior is complete and ready to be furnished. We're in the process of completing the furnishings, exterior landscaping walls, and completing the landscaping around the outside so that it can be opened up in approximately 2025. So that's the exterior of the clubhouse. On the inside, you can see a few sample renderings of the interior furnishings that are contemplated. This is representative of the design and layout of the building that is on site. So if you see the upper area, that's exactly what you would see when you walk in the building, and the staircases, etc. From what we've heard from our current residents, they're definitely looking forward to when the gym will be open, and we are excited to be able to deliver this to them very soon. We're working on this right now. The pool is scheduled to start construction in the next 3 months, and we're looking to extend the current plan of a 40-foot pool to perhaps 50 or 60 feet in length to allow for easy laps and more dramatic visual impact. We're excited for how this will take shape, and we should be starting this very soon. So now that we've learned more about the location, the site, and the amenities, we should take a deeper dive into the houses, after which we'll have Marcia talk about what's involved in the purchasing process, and Corey in the financing process. So we have two models of homes, the smaller of which is the Diana, which is 1,658 square feet in size, and the larger of which is the Elizabeth, which is 1,904 square feet in size. The main difference between the two models is that the Diana has a double entrance door, whereas the Elizabeth has a single entrance door, and the Elizabeth has extra square footage located in a den. The Diana model is now sold out though, and we only have the Elizabeth remaining. So the Elizabeth is a 3-bedroom plus a den with a 2-bathroom home, with the average lot size that it's situated on being about 5,000 square feet. The home boasts a covered carport, 16-foot interior ceilings, tile throughout, a concrete driveway, and stone-coated shingles on the roof. The floor plan and pictures are available on our website, and we encourage you to spend some time reviewing this after the webinar. I'll just go quickly through the interior photos, and then we'll do a little video walkthrough of one of the completed homes unfurnished, so you can get a sense of what it really looks like. This image shows the living room of the home just off the front entrance. The kitchen just behind boasts a wraparound countertop and plenty of space for storage. The den can be used for dining, as an office, a spare bedroom, or whatever suits your needs. It's just off the kitchen and near to the rear of the property. It's the perfect addition to the home. The master bedroom is spacious, includes a walk-in closet and its own separate entrance to the rear of the patio. And we can't forget the master bath with a double sink in the vanity and a walk-in shower. The exterior covered space is perfect to spend the evenings and watch the beautiful Jamaica sunsets while enjoying the serenity of the setting. Let's sit back and watch this 2-minute walkthrough of an Elizabeth model. This will really give you a sense of what the home has to offer. Marcia and the team are ready and willing to provide video tours on request for those not on the island, and on-site tours to those that would like to view the properties in person. So now that you've seen the inside of the home, we just want to take a look at what the exterior colors are that are available. So the homes come in several color options. So the best way to visualize them is to see some real pictures of some real homes and get a sense for it that way. The site plan on our website identifies the color of each home, which allows for easy viewing at your leisure to try and figure out which location and which color best suits what you're looking for when it comes to selecting the home. So we have a peach color, as you can see in this image here. We have a taupe as well in this image here, and that's an Elizabeth model. This is a Diana, but this is the blue color, and this is the gray color as well in an Elizabeth model. On the inside of the homes, the darker colors, so that would be the gray and the blue, come with a standard darker cabinetry, and the lighter color homes come with the standard lighter color cabinetry. We can discuss individual preferences as they come up, but see the examples of the completed kitchens here. This is just one of the light kitchens in an Elizabeth, and then we have a darker kitchen installed in one of the Dianas. Although the Diana and the Elizabeth kitchens are a little bit different in design, the colors are indicative of what to expect. So with the homes, there's also the option of certain upgrades that you can have. So the best way we thought to visualize what these upgrades look like is to see them installed and get a better understanding of them that way. Every home at the Gates of Edgehill comes with the option to do certain upgrades. What you're seeing here is the rain gutter upgrade going around the exterior of the home. This allows for the runoff of the water to go clearly down through the pipes and drain through the natural vegetation. In addition to the guttering upgrade, we can also look at the air conditioning upgrade, which can provide units for all of the bedrooms in the main living area in the house. What you're seeing here are the enclosure upgrades of the rear patio of the Elizabeth model that David is pointing out, with the rear glass and these side windows to enclose the space. This makes an excellent lounging area and keeps the bugs out while you're doing just that. Now that you understand what comes with the home, what upgrades we have, all the amenities and things like that, we can have Marcia just walk us through what you need to know about the process of purchasing a home in Jamaica, what the next steps are, and how you can best work with her to move forward. So Marcia?
Thank you, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but wasn't that an amazing picture of the development and the location and the features? I'm sure you can't wait to get your hands on one of them. So, before we do all of that, you're going to need some things. So, to start the purchasing process, you will need to have your TRN number. TRN means your tax registration number. It's almost like your social security number or NI number here in the UK. If you do not have one, you can apply online, and you can go to jamaicatax.gov.jm, and you can download the forms and complete them online. Or if you're on island, you can go to any one of the tax offices and complete the form there. We will also need to have proof of ID, and that can be a valid passport or your driving license. And valid means it has to be not expired. If you are purchasing via mortgage, we will also need a pre-approval letter from your financial institution that you'll be seeking the mortgage from. For cash purchases, we would require proof of funds, and that can be your bank statements to show that you have enough funds in there to cover the purchase. And also, we would need at least 10% of the purchase price as deposits. And as Matthew was saying, we can arrange tour appointments, and we encourage you guys to come on down. I know some of you will be coming over in the next few weeks for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, so this will be a great opportunity to come and see us, and we will be happy to arrange those appointments for you. And even if you're not going to be over on the island, if you have someone that you trust and value their opinion, we can arrange an appointment with them, and they can do a video call, while they're there with you. Once you are satisfied that you like the lot, you like the big corner lot, you like the color, and you like the upgrades, and you decide to proceed with the offer to purchase, you would have to submit that offer to purchase form. We strongly advise you to seek legal representation for this transaction. Once that offer is accepted by Edgehill Homes, they will advise their attorney to begin the drafting of the sales agreement, and this will be sent to your legal counsel. The sales agreement, once signed, is returned with your deposit and the proof of ability to close the transaction, meaning you can get the letter of undertaking from your financial institution to say that you're able to close the transaction. And then after that, the vendor will commence with the preparation for the finalization of your new home. So the process is pretty much straightforward. We encourage communication is key to get it going from smoothly to the end. And I'm going to bring this back to you now, Matthew.
Thank you, Marcia. That was great. And one more thing I wanted to add is that at the end of the webinar, I can't recall if I said it in the beginning, we're going to have a short survey. So anybody that's interested to speak with Marcia and connect for either a virtual tour or an in-person tour, they can just drop their name, contact info in the comments, and we'll send them over to Marcia so she can follow up, just because the surveys are anonymous, so we wouldn't be able to tell otherwise. So we're just going to play a little bit of a video with Raymond handing over a property to a client this year, and then we'll move over to discuss some of the financing options with VM and Corey. And also, just as a reminder, as I'm getting to the end of this section, that you can visit our website, edgehillhomes.com, to view all of the information on the homes, and you can also book an appointment there, and one of our reps will reach out to coordinate the timing for that. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Corey, to do a little bit of an intro, and we can go through how VM can help with the purchasing process.
Thank you very much, Matthew. David also mentioned that there were some hiccups that you actually got over, and that was very honest, and we really applaud you for that. Now, the VM Group, as you see, Victoria Mutual Building Society, a lot of persons would know us as Victoria Mutual, but we are undergoing a rebranding. Now we're the VM Group, but our services remain the same, and we're coming up on our 146th anniversary. We started November 14 in 1878. That's when we opened our doors, and VM was set up for persons who were financially excluded, and we wanted to make sure that they were a part of the conversation. They could become homeowners and in their own right be financially independent, create a bit of generational wealth, and leave a bit of legacy as well. And Matthew, I want you to help me move the slides along. So
Of course, yeah. Just let me know when, and I'll click. I'll click right through.
absolutely, with a mortgage is a big deal, and when you're thinking about your finances and apportioning what will go towards that mortgage, there are a few things that must be considered. Your income, the expenditure. Next time, you can keep it moving, Mark. How is it that we are going to use our income, match with those expenses, to guarantee or to assure that I can afford this mortgage? It makes no sense for us to have a conversation without looking at the steps to this home ownership, the reason for purchasing. That must be absolutely clear. What is it that you will be doing with the property? And you can have that conversation with Marcia and have that conversation with Matthew and the team as to the purpose of your purchase. And of course, one thing with VM, we have to say location, and I repeat it, location. Of course, research is quite important, and transparency, the honesty, it is important. Inspect the property, and the next question in the key step is, can I afford it? And we mentioned the affordability. Now, let us look at where we start. If you mean that you're going to get one of the smaller units in the Gates of Edgehill, and by 2-3 years, if they're still available, you own 5 properties in the Gates of Edgehill. But you have to start. Now, here's where we're going to be walking together. Now, the pre-qualification phase is where we look at your affordability. So we look at your income, your expenditures. That is done. You submit your pay slips, your bank statements. We might be asking you for 3 months, 6 months if your salary paid, and of course your credit report. Those things we'll look at your spending habits from your credit report, and we match that with the income and expenditure sheet that you would have completed. We will ascertain how much you can afford based on that assessment. Once you are pre-qualified, we're satisfied, and you're not going to be left in hardships, then you may move on to the application stage. But the pre-qualification is required to prove to the vendor that you can afford it. You can afford this property, and there's an intent from us, VM, to provide a mortgage if successful in the application process. So the application comes, and this is where you need the other documents, your TRN, the surveyor's report, the valuation report, all the other things that can be provided from your solicitor. Well, then it goes to the adjudication panel to decide that, okay, this applicant has met the requirements. There's no issues here. They can afford this mortgage. Let us move ahead. That comes now with a prepared letter of acceptance. You accept it. It is registered. There's a disbursement. You own your beautiful home at the Gates of Edgehill, whichever one you choose. But it starts with a pre-qualification, which is an affordability check. All right. Be prepared for all costs. If you can save up to 25% of that deposit, please do. Remember, there are things that you have to pay for. The credit report, the processing fee, that's between 5% to 2% of the loan amount. And the professional fees can go up to 12%. That's the report. The valuation, land survey, and ID quantity survey, transfer and stamp duty, mortgage registration costs, legal fees. Consider those things. Be prepared for those costs. And as we're coming down, right? Customized mortgage financing up to 90%. Yes, we can lend up to 90%. And we used to do 100% mortgages, right? But we are up to 90%. But if you put a little bit more in there, what that does, it allows you to be paying less monthly on a mortgage, and it increase your equity in the property itself. So if you can put more in, even 50%, we'll be well on our way. And for persons in this jurisdiction, United Kingdom, USA, and also Canada can benefit from a 6% and 8% interest on mortgages. Jamaican residents is on a special offer. If you've got an iSave account, we're offering 9.95 for persons, first-time homeowners, 9.95. But if you're not an iSave account holder, not a first-time homeowner, then it's 10.25. And of course, for us, we recommend that you use a valuator from one of our registered panel valuators. All right. And then how much can I afford? There's several factors that can impact that. Your deposit, down payment, that I just mentioned, the loan to value ratio, what percentage of the value of the property is being borrowed. You may just want to borrow 50%, 60%. You may have something already based on what you've put down. All right. I'm so happy to answer all questions at the end of the presentation. All right. You look at your debt to income ratio. How much of your income is covering the debt? So that is, you look at your credit cards, do you have car loans, etc. All those kind of things, the outgoings that may impact and change the landscape of you getting the right amount of money to cover that amount that is required to acquire that property. So, of course, there's joint financing with NHD, combined mortgage processed by VMBS, of course, with us, with a joint financing mortgage program. Contributors apply through a participating institution. So there are a myriad of ways that the financing can go. A lot of persons have been contributing to the National Housing Trust right now. If you're a first-time home owner, that's 7.5 million that may go towards offsetting some of the costs. And of course, one thing to note though, if you're getting the rest from us, the title will be registered to us because we will be providing that mortgage. This is what I want you to take away from this presentation, not the early introduction, which is of course very good, and the Mark Twain quote that the secret of getting ahead is actually getting started, is identify that Gates of Edgehill is a great property for you. Make sure that you're on the ground or you have somebody representing you to make sure that your joy is long-lived. Be sure that your finances are in order to cover all costs. Deposit, closing clause, fees, charges, anything that may come up. Make sure the mortgage product you select is right for you. It's all on screen right there. And I'll be happy to have that conversation with anyone who requires a little bit more support and knowledge about the mortgage process. Next slide. And as we close, this is how you contact us. We're located here in the United Kingdom, 380 Brixton Road, London SW9 78W. If you're overseas, get on a flight, you can call us. +44 207 738 699. And there's so much information also on the web. So be sure to contact us. And if you're in the States, there's also a rep office in New York and Florida. All right. So for those in the Plaza West, Cadman Plaza West, 300 Cadman Plaza West, 1 Pierpont Plaza in Bronx, New York. That's where you find, and the Florida rep office, the shop is the Sienna Shops, 2600 University Drive, Miramar, Florida. Thank you very much, Mark. Looking forward to the questions at the end.
Thanks, Corey. That was great. Really good walkthrough. I think everybody would have appreciated that and the level of detail, because I know from the questions we get from people that call in, this is an important topic. And so I'm happy that we spent a good amount of time on it. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and I'm going to pull up the Q&A just so we can go through some of the questions. So I'll read out some of the questions, and I'll just direct them to who's probably the best person to address them. So the first question from an anonymous attendee is, can you cover the security features of the property? So David, could you go into the security and how it works at the property?
Yes. So when you enter, we employ a company called Armor Security. Eventually, that company will be employed by the Homeowners Association. Right now, it's employed directly by the developer. It's one of the more prominent security companies in Jamaica. I believe that on any given day, at any given time, they have 5 people right now on site. One would be manning the gate. We have one that sits near the management office, and then the others are dispersed. Matthew, is that correct? Is it actually 5 or 4, including the patrols? The ones that patrol?
It would be 5 that are on site, I believe.
Yeah. And they are patrolling, and they're on site 24/7. So the site is never without security. The site also has a wall that goes all the way around. It's a gated community. You can only enter through the front gate. We're putting some additions to some of the walls right now. We're making some of them enhanced with fencing that would go on top. We understand the issue of security at Jamaica, and it is being addressed at the Gates of Edgehill. As we go into phases 2 and 3, and the site becomes larger, there'll obviously be more security people added. But it's a process. It's not an event. We'll add them as needed to cover the space that's required. But the full community will be gated. There's some areas where there's a ravine, and it'll probably just be a fence that prevents entry through that section. It's very difficult to traverse even naturally. So nobody's going to be coming up trying to get into the Gates of Edgehill from one of the ravines that transects the property. And so I think that's pretty well it, unless anybody has any further question on security.
No, I think that's good. Thanks, David. The next one we have is from Andre. He says, can you cover the warranty of the home, the HOA fee? So there's a few questions actually in this one question. The HOA fee amounts, and are there any preparations for installing a water tank? So maybe you want to touch on the warranty first, David?
I believe that what happens is that you take possession of your home. There's a pre-delivery inspection, and we list any items that have to be corrected before you actually move in. When you move in, there is then a 6-month period when you can identify any defects that show up, because they may not have been visible at the time that you took possession. And if those are indeed defects, the developer, Edgehill Homes Limited, will send in trades to fix those problems. And I believe at the end of the 6 months, it runs out, right, Matthew? Is that basically?
Yeah, that's correct.
We think that the warranty policy is a fair one. It's consistent with what's typically available in Jamaica, and that's the policies. So there you go.
Perfect. And then the second was the HOA fee amounts. So I think you could address that too, David.
So the HOA fee amounts will ultimately be determined by, at the end of the day, what services the HOA wants and how they want to deal with those. I can't tell you at this point in time. We have not started charging HOA fees yet, and we probably will not be charging them until the clubhouse is finished or sometime thereabouts, so early next year. But the HOA fees will cover whatever is necessary for security. It'll cover whatever is necessary to maintain the clubhouse or swimming pool and personnel that are associated with that. Whatever common services are used by the community, I do expect that it's probably going to come in somewhere in the range of, and understand, I cannot predict this exact amount, but $200 or $300 a month, maybe plus or minus. Matthew, do you have any comment on that? Am I in the ballpark at this point?
Well, you're close. The estimate at the start of the development was 124 USD per month, but there's been inflation since that time, so I would expect that it's gone up.
That's a figure that's almost 8 years old. So
exactly. So we'll have to engage a third party to allocate expenses to the appropriate parties at the time that we look at doing this transition.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that's really important is that it partially depends on what the homeowners decide they want. So you may want enhanced security, or you may want enhanced maintenance of some of the facilities that will be amenities, and then you have the option of paying for those. The Homeowners Association is a democratic organization of all of the homeowners, and eventually there'll be 294 based on Gates of Edgehill as it's planned right now. There's some possibilities for expansion. Expansion is a good thing because it lowers the amount that each person would have to pay as their share, because it gets diluted. Some of the expenses would get diluted over a larger pool of payors. So, but I think that I'm somewhere in the ballpark there. I can't say at this point in time because it's something gets fixed based on an annual budget at the time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And the last question in this three-part question from Andre was the preparations for installing a water tank. I think we can address that too.
Every home comes with a 600-gallon water tank. 600 right now, 600 gallons water tank. And the reason we have this is because, as is very common in Jamaica, the National Water Service or National Water Commission is unreliable in its supply of municipal water. We have more than adequate municipal water coming into the site, but the pumps that the National Water Commission is using are a little bit aged, and they do have a tendency to go out. This is not unique to Gates of Edgehill or to St. Mary Parish. It's all over Jamaica. It's well known. And so one of the conditions of our site plan approval with the municipality was that we had to offer a 600-gallon tank of emergency supply water to every house. The tank is situated in the backyard. Some people decorate them a bit. You don't have to. And it's got a pump and a motor, and you turn that on in the event that the public supply is turned off. Some people have enhanced their tank and put another tank beside it. And this is something that you can do. It's very easily done. And now you have 1,200 gallons, which would cover you probably for more than what you would ever need. I would argue that the 600 is probably enough. It's estimated to be 3 days worth of outage. And it's very uncommon that the water is out by the National Water Commission for 3 days straight. The outages tend to be a few hours or a day at most, based on the history that we've had with the site so far.
Thanks, David. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
The next question, I think, is going to be for Corey. I know you brought this up briefly in your presentation, Corey, but they're just asking how much the interest on a loan would be for Jamaicans. So we could probably just reiterate that answer.
All right. So if you're an iSave account holder, let me start right there. You benefit from a fantastic rate, 9.95%. But if you are not an iSave for home owner yet, it's only 10.25%.
That's the current rates, right? Based on today's.
Based on today.
Just while I got you there, Corey, I was moved when you told me that you owned your first car at age 28. You know that I owned my first car when I was 4 years old. My parents bought it for me, but unfortunately it was only about this big. It had something called Hot Wheels. That's what they called it. And it looked actually a little bit like this. I don't know if you can see that. But this was it, There you can see it, and that was my first car, 4 years old. So
David,
yeah.
David,
Yeah.
you got me there.
Okay.
You got me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've got more than a Hot Wheel right now because you saved for that, I believe.
That's right.
There's a question here from an anonymous attendee. Do you accept part exchange? I'm not exactly sure what that means, part exchange. Maybe Corey or David, do you know what that means?
No.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Part exchange.
I'll just move on. Maybe if they want to resubmit it with more description, we can get to it after. Then another question from an anonymous attendee, probably for you, David, is why do the purchases need to be completed in USD as opposed to JMD or GBP currencies?
Okay, so the answer to that question is we would accept a limited number of purchases in Jamaican dollars. So if there was somebody that really wanted to purchase in Jamaican dollars, we would accept that. The main reason we have priced our product in US dollars is because we're a foreign entity that has sponsored this development and the money is coming in foreign currency and we're trying to match the currency so that we don't have risk of exchange. However, we do have a certain number of expenses ongoing in Jamaican dollars, and every once in a while a purchaser says, could I complete my purchase in Jamaican dollars? And we're accepting of that. We have not yet been asked to accept Great British, pound sterling, but I don't know what would happen if we did. We don't even have a pound sterling bank account, so we would have to set up a bank account to be able to accept that money. And we might be willing to do that in limited number of cases. But right now, we'd be pretty liberal if somebody wanted to close in Jamaican dollars because we have a good use for them. But at some point in time, we'd have to control that and not allow too many to happen because then we have to convert in order to repatriate the investment to the foreign company.
Thanks, David. So the next question was, how much is the monthly charge? So you went over that already, so I won't have us address it again. And then there's two more questions, sort of related, but maybe not really. Will there be on-site supermarket? And will Airbnb be accepted? So you could probably answer both those, David.
Yeah, so right now there's not a plan for a supermarket on site. There was some talk about having a little store, but right now there's not a plan. However, and I'm speaking out of school right now, okay, and so I got to be very, very careful. There's an adjacent landowner who has approached us, who has said, could we expand the Gates of Edgehill onto that property? It's 90 acres. We're very, very seriously considering this. The homeowners have expressed, the existing homeowners, that they would be in favor of it. If we do that, we'll be dramatically expanding the amenities that will be associated with the project because it will go from 294 houses to probably at least 700. And we would be putting a supermarket on site and other commercial amenities, convenience amenities, as part of that plan. But I cannot stand in front of you today, sit in front of you and speak about that and tell you that that is a definitive go, because it's not contracted and it's not done. We've been approached with a presentation that is quite attractive, but there's a lot yet between the cup and the lip, as they say, that could spill out. And so I have to be careful. Somebody asked a question whether Airbnb will be accepted. Many of our homeowners do let out their homes through Airbnb, at least part-time. You should expect that at some point in time, the homeowners association will have certain rules with respect to that. And so you'll want to be careful. They may not want highly short-term rentals. The properties don't attract teenagers. They don't attract wild parties. It tends to be just people who want to be able to cook themselves on vacation and not have to live in a hotel. Stan has asked, he would love to purchase a property with his two sons, but he's the only one with a TRN. I don't think that's a problem, Stan, okay, but that requires our legal counsel to address that. Getting a TRN is not that difficult, so we can help you with that too, or there's people who can help you with that. So maybe your two sons could get the TRN as well. You're probably going to want to own the home jointly with them, so that upon your passing, and I don't know how old you are, so I'm making assumptions, but that you would have a joint survivorship and you wouldn't have to be involved in a transfer of ownership at that time. Somebody asked if there's a hospital or medical facilities. Right now, there's no medical facilities on our site in particular. However, as I told you, if we do the expansion, it'll almost certainly be the case that we will have something in that regard. In the meantime, you're only about 10, 15 minutes away from Ochi, and you get in the car, you go, and there's plenty of services there. Somebody asked a great question. Are the prices of the homes increasing in 2025? The answer is almost certainly. Almost certainly. Okay, so we have done, and we constantly do market comparisons, and we believe that we're priced too low right now. And the reason we believe that is because we've held the prices low because our amenities are not complete, and we don't feel that we should be charging the optimal price until they are complete. That is going to change, I hope, by the end of March 2025. Or very, very close to that. At that point, people will have the full amenities. It's most the clubhouse is finished, but the swimming pool is not finished, and the front of the clubhouse as you enter needs to be landscaped. And so my guess is that we will be increasing prices as soon as those amenities are done and as we move out of phase one. An anonymous attendee asks, how far is Edgehill on the main road and Discovery Bay? Okay, so I'm going to answer these questions. Okay, from Discovery Bay, I think it's still an hour and a quarter drive. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, along the main highway, but it's about 2 hours from Low Bay. I think Matthew is that about correct? Okay, I think it's about 2 hours. So Discovery is somewhere along the way there, about halfway. But Edgehill from the main road is 1.1 or 1.2 kilometers. I want to talk about the road. It's a typical Jamaican road. It is not in a good state of repair right now. However, and this is very important, okay, we have received information that the contract for rebuilding of the road has been tendered by the government. We have received information that 4 companies bid for that contract. We have received information respecting which contractor won the contract, and we're told that the work is going to be starting. The question is, why has the work not started? But now, if the contract has been tendered and it has been let, okay, and the answer to that question is a very, very Jamaican answer, okay, and that's that, and insofar as we are aware, okay, this is what we're being told. The member of parliament in the area does not want to see the work start on the road until it's closer to the next election, because he feels that the people will have forgotten about it by the time the election comes around. Election is next fall, and so he wants to defer it until the spring of next year so that he can campaign on showing what he's done. Now, I don't know. I can't speak to that issue, how true that is or not true, but we do expect that sometime in the next year, the road that goes from the main highway to the site will be fully, and beyond the site, will be fully rebuilt. And we're going to be lobbying to make sure that it comes with lights and cameras as well. And the cameras would go into our gatehouse and into the police station, which is very nearby. So the police stand, that's very nearby. Somebody asked if there's a location in Toronto. Anybody who wants to talk about the Gates of Edgehill can come to our office in Toronto. The offices of Morrison Financial. We're in the Don Mills and Lawrence area, North York. And you would be welcome to come and make an appointment. We can show you everything, talk to you, meet people, whatever you want. It's not typically a sales office for the Gates of Edgehill, but we are the most informed people. We can tell you anything that you want. And we've had many people visit us here in our offices. An anonymous attendee says, I know the person mentioned UK. Is there a location in Toronto, Canada? Well, I just answered that question. Somebody asked if the prices are going up. Yes, I think they will, but we have not set new prices at this point in time. And I've answered the the question regarding the main road. We expect that it'll be started in the spring. We're trying to get an actual confirmation from the government right now on this issue. I've told you this is information that we've received. We actually saw a copy of the tender. We saw a list of the companies that bid for the tender. We know a person who works for the company that won the tender, but we do not have official information in this regard. I should tell you that the demand for the road being rebuilt is huge. It does not come simply from our site. It comes from the Mango Valley town that is south of us, up the hill further. The residents are very upset that it hasn't been started already. They've actually protested on several occasions and blocked the main highway, and we have video of that. And so I do expect it will in fact be done. I want to emphasize the problem with the road is not really the surface. The problem with the road is the drainage. When the road was built, it was so common. If you've ever driven around Jamaica, what they did historically is they used the road as the drainage. So what happens on a heavy rain is the water comes pummeling down the roadway like a chute, and it washes away the road, so you get potholes and things like that. What they need to do is rebuild the road so that the drainage goes off the road and into the municipal wastewater and stormwater sewage system. And that system already exists. It just the road has to be connected to it, and we know where the connection is. We know what the work involves, and we are just waiting for them to get. We actually even know what the price is. Okay, we're waiting for the government to become involved on this. It is not a parish road. It's not. It belongs to the National Works Agency, and they're responsible for it. So. We do expect it will be done, and we're going to try to get confirmation on that issue in the near future.
David,
long answer.
Before you move on, I just want to respond to one of the things about if the house prices will be going up in 2025, right? And just on a great note that, once you acquire property in Jamaica, right, it appreciates. So the value in owning that home now is the time to actually get that property. So you can benefit from that appreciation in 2025 and beyond. So you acquire it now. It's absolutely a great price that you have announced and introduced to the market. Acquire it now, and we are here at VM to help you get that. So when you think about it next year and the year after, you can reap some benefits. Some equity will already be in your.
So Corey, that you're absolutely right. We have purchasers who bought a few years ago, okay, and their house is worth 100,000 more, and they're just paying for it now, okay. And so inflation in housing is a certainty in Jamaica. It's not a maybe; it's a certainty, okay. And it goes up, I think, roughly 6-7% almost every year, like a religion. And so. So people do have to be conscious of that. It is a way of building equity.
Indeed. And the question about if there's a location in Canada, I'm not sure if they were actually referring to the VM, but it can be accessed through making contact with us and also the New York rep office. And of course, if you have got your persons in Canada, it can be routed through you and then to us.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there's no more questions, this might be the end of the question period.
The only thing that we forgot to tell our guests is that we are 10 minutes from the Boscobel, the Ian Fleming Airport. So they have direct flights from Miami on a weekly basis now, I believe, into Boscobel. So I don't know the question. How far was it from Discovery Bay? Whether it was because of I'm flying to Montego Bay, how far is it, from there? But
that's a good comment, Marcia. If somebody was coming from Miami, they wouldn't go into Mo Bay. They would fly to Ian Fleming.
Into Fleming.
Yeah, and the other thing is that we expect that the Miami connection will be expanded to include New York and possibly Toronto in the not too distant future. They have not announced that, but we do know that was the plan, and so it'll be something to watch out for. I don't know about UK because I think they're limited into the small.
Yeah, our planes are too big, will be too big to get there,
Yeah.
unless TUI, which is a chartered flight.
Yeah.
And they use a lot of hotels in Otrius. That would be very good for them if they could go to Boscobel.
Yeah. 7 minutes and you're home if you
7
land at Ian Fleming
Okay.
Airport. Ian Fleming
There
Airport.
you go.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if you guys have ever experienced those lineups in Sangster, okay, but it's crazy sometimes. And so, if you could come into Ian Fleming, it's a great convenience.
Simone has asked for my details.
Yeah, so someone has asked for your details, Marcia. So I don't know if you want to show them, or after this, they can just submit a comment in the survey, and we can.
How do I show them? Just type the answer.
Yeah, you could just say it out loud, or
Right.
maybe they could just submit it in the survey after, and we can provide the details. Yeah.
Yeah. So my mobile number is 07 535 04 0057. I'll type that in as well. Don't know. Do they get to see the question and answers?
I think I have it on my screen. I just have to get back
Okay.
so that I could pull it up my screen quickly.
While you're doing that, I'm going to volunteer that Marcia Jackson is one of the most thoughtful, detailed, thorough real estate agents you can imagine. And anybody who uses her will be in great hands.
Yeah.
No,
I can speak from personal experience.
Yeah, Marcia has been responsible for quite a number of the sales at the site. So she's been around for a long time. And her on the screen now, you should be able to see her email address and phone number. Maybe you just want to review that, Marcia, and make sure that you agree.
That is correct. That's correct. And Marcia at CandourPropertyServices.com is the email. I'm actually based in London, Walthamstow, East London. So yeah, so if you contact me either via phone or email, I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Perfect. And so if you go to Marcia's website too, I think it's CandourPropertyServices.com, that information should be there as well. And if there's any contacts that anyone's looking for in the survey, there's a space where you can leave some comments, and we can provide Ori's contact details or whatever's requested, and try and make those connections where requested. So if that's everything, I just wanted to thank Corey, Marcia, and David for taking the time to walk through the Gates of Edgehill. I don't know if anyone else wants to say goodbye, but
just another note to say that we do have another presentation on Saturday. So if there's anyone that you think would be interested in hearing about the Gates of Edgehill, we've got another webinar Saturday at 6 o'clock.
Thank you very much. 6 o'clock your time, Marcia?
6 o'clock my time, yeah, UK time.
Yeah, UK time. So Eastern time, that would be about 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Val.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm going to sign out. Thank you.
All right.